Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. This is the final episode of my Let's Play series. This is the ending of Twilight Princess in HD for the Wii U. I'm Brad. Be sure to like and subscribe below. And without further ado, here comes the ending. Do not think this ends here. The history of light and shadow will be written in blood. Look how big his fingers are. But he lost his power. Literally, he lost a Triforce of power. I think it's interesting that he doesn't keel over and die. He just kind of like stands there. Like he's like this disanimated automaton. Crack. I find that very unsettling, but also really cool. That Zant is like, crack. And then Ganondorf is like, done. Literally just whites in his eyes. And then he just kind of stands there, defeated, as we gaze. The other cool thing about the magic armor is that it kind of matches like Zelda's like pseudo princess armor. And I think that's kind of cool. And it feels very royal family, if you will. The spirits have returned, and there's Midna in the distance. She's not done for after all, which is great. She looks so small in comparison, but granted, they're also enormous. Are they beckoning me? And they also just disappeared, so that's cool. So she had her own little Beauty and the Beast transformation. We didn't get to see the transformation process, but here's Midna's true form, as hinted at in the stamp we just got at the end. In the last episode, before the final battle. Nice lipstick. It's a good color. So this is Midna's true form. What? Say something. She sounds like Fi, or Fi, from Skyward Sword. Am I so beautiful that you've no words left? The funny thing is Link never had words to begin with. So it's like a little in-joke or something. And what would a Zelda ending be without a little bit of a credits montage? And this is a good credits montage, I must say. But let me take this opportunity now to talk about my thoughts on this game. I love Twilight Princess HD. I loved this game when it came out and I played it for Wii. And then I kind of went through a breakup period with the game because I remember playing Skyward Sword, which came out I think in 2011, so about 5 years after Twilight Princess. So Twilight Princess for the Wii was sort of like a last-minute tack, and because like it was always being developed for the GameCube, and then Wii was coming out, and then as you know, they were like, okay, let's also put it on the Wii. So it really wasn't a Wii game, but they made it Wii-worthy, if you will. And I liked it. Like the Wii seemed like a little tacked on, but at the time I was like, oh, this is cool. I can like waggle the thing and I swing my sword. That's really, really awesome. But I didn't really make much of the fact that I was just like shaking the thing that wasn't like a specific sword motion. So when Skyward Sword came out and that introduced like very specific motion controls for things like you could roll bombs, you had to swing swords in particular directions at particular angles to beat certain enemies. To go back to Twilight Princess after that for the Wii was very jarring, and it felt very clunky and stiff, and I didn't like it at all, honestly. And I was like, oh, this is disappointing. And also, it was like very foggy looking. So I'm really glad that this HD version was released now for the Wii U 10 years later, because it looks so much more crisp, especially in the graphics department, and I really love that. And I had never played it with like a normal controller in my hands before. On my normal run, I did the gamepad, so I had all that touch stuff, which I'm not a super fan of. I like going into the menu to change my items and pause the game instead of like in the heat of the action looking down at my gamepad. Like, I don't mind for instance in Dark Souls, the action doesn't stop when you go into the menu. But at least I'm looking at the TV screen when that's happening. You know, so like I can be aware of like an enemy like trying to hit me while it's happening, instead of like, oh, I'm just looking at my gamepad, I can't see what's going on up there because I'm looking for where like the small claw shot icon is so I can replace it. I don't know why these soldiers are bothering to celebrate, because and see Telma, no, she's like, these bitches, they didn't do a thing. It was all us. It wasn't even me. It wasn't even my cat. It was Link. It was all Link. Literally, Link did all the work. And I have the huge hunks of meat to show for it, and these soldiers are like, yeah, celebrate! And they're like, girl, you did nothing. Anyway, I prefer it with the Pro Controller. The Pro Controller took some getting used to for me. I found it very hard to do spin attacks on the Pro Controller. Maybe I'm just used to like less contact points on the N64, and I keep saying that, but I used to be able to spin attack with such ease and finesse playing Ocarina of Time on N64. Also, I never got that stupid treasure chest underneath that bridge. Or did I? Maybe I did. There was another treasure chest under a bridge I didn't get somewhere. Well, I guess I must have just had like rupees or like ammo in it or something, because it really hasn't made much of a difference. But long story short, I really loved being able to play this game again on the Wii U with a controller in my hands, because I feel like that's what it was always intended to be, a controller-based Zelda game. And I think, bearing that in mind, it's one of the best Zelda games out there. Also, poor Prince Rallis, with his mother spirit looking down on him. Not down on him in shame, just like she's literally above him looking down. Notice our favorite gay foul people, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way. Other than that, I find that their portrayal is a little bit on the side. You know what means, right? But they kind of, I don't know, they go straight for the stereotype, and he's clearly very, very flamboyant, if you know what I mean. But, you know, what what do they say? Any publicity is good publicity, so what's not a little representation? Anyway, I do love this game. I like that it feels desolate, and clearly that's not going to be anything that changes anytime soon in the Zelda series, since Breath of the Wild coming out for Wii U next year looks like it's going to be like, the name of the game is Desolation. At least based on like what they showed at E3. So maybe that's going to be Zelda's new thing from now on, just like you alone in a wonderful world and trying to figure out like what the hell you're doing there, what it is you need to do next. Speaking of, here's Snow Peak Ruins. Oh, and that heart, you know what that means. They're getting it on in there, having some Yeti fun. Or not. Maybe they're just cuddling, watching Netflix. Netflixing and chilling, if you will, in the Snow Peak Ruins. Oh, here's our favorite OkCupid date. He's like, guys, like, look here, I found ruins, I'm an archaeologist, I'm so cool. Like my friend Clark, he's an archaeologist, we always rub it in. We always remind him that he's an archaeologist. And we're like, did you find any dinosaurs? No? Not today? What about tomorrow? Yesterday? Last year? So, one thing I don't like about this game is that in regards to Desolation, I find that the original village, Orden Village, is like, you're there and then like you never see it again. It like plays no other role in the game. And then Kakariko Village, you go there and like you barely ever come back. So like the few inhabitants that you do interact with, they kind of like, I feel like they're underdeveloped a little bit. I like the story overall compared to other Zelda games, but it still feels like a little less than, if you will. Like, I completely forgot that Orden Village even existed, it feels so long ago. But in Ocarina of Time, like, you never really felt like you lost sight of Kokiri Village, and also you go back there halfway through the game, because you're revisiting all the areas as an adult anyway, to see how 7 years has changed everything. And then in Majora's Mask, there's Clocktown, which you barely ever, like, get out of. Like, everything revolves around Clocktown. And then, in Wind Waker, you'll go back to the islands, too. You're always going to Windfall Island in Wind Waker. And in this one, I just felt like the towns were like, you know, you come here once, maybe never. So, other than that, the dungeon design, that's why I was talking about dungeons, because of Snow Peak Ruins coming up on the screen. Also, speaking of Arbiter's Grounds, there's just a lot of really quality dungeons in this game. These are some of my favorite dungeons in the entire Zelda series, partially because I like maps so much, and I love the maps. I just like looking at the maps. Like, the maps are so good. I hope there's real dungeons. Maybe I shouldn't say real versus unreal. I hope there's some kind of semblance of, like, very intricate multi-tiered dungeons in Breath of the Wild when that comes out. Oh, by the way, we're taking a break from the credits. Well, I guess this is farewell, huh? Light and shadow can't mix, as we all know. But never forget that there's another world bound to this one. Shadow and light are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. I know now the reason the goddesses left the Mirror of Twilight in this world. They left it because it was their design that we should meet. Yes, that is what I believe. Zelda, your words are kind, and your heart is true. If all in Hyrule are like you, then maybe you'll do all right. Thank you. Well, the princess spoke truly. As long as that mirror's around, we could meet again. Baron? See you later. I find that part of the ending extremely bittersweet, hence my silence. I definitely shed a tear during that in my original test run, and that is one of my favorite things about the Legend of Zelda series. It really captivates me and carries me away, and I get sucked into the world, and I get... The only time I have that similar kind of feeling when it comes to fantasy experiences, if you will, in the visual form, are like in Miyazaki movies, where I just feel like I'm flying when I watch a Miyazaki movie, not to mention there often is some element of flight in his movies, and also when playing like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Now, I get this feeling all the time in books, where I just really feel transported, and I have this sort of outer body experience when I experience the world. And to be so captivated, and then for such a simple gesture as Midna leaving and saying goodbye, and we could meet again, but then understanding that for the good of all, there is absolutely no way we could possibly meet again. It's very sad and bittersweet, but also very quaint and perfect and poignant. And it's very brief, but it's a very good ending. I like this ending a lot. And I really like this game. I highly recommend it, especially if you missed out on it the first time. This is definitely the definitive version. The Cave of Shadows, which is a nice addition, is kind of a cool diversion, and now that we've seen all these Breath of the Wild trailers, getting that Wolf Link amiibo sounds like it'd be a great idea, since you can use the Wolf Link amiibo to be a wolf companion in Breath of the Wild. That sounds awesome. I mean, wolves are my favorite animal, not in real life, like in fantasy life. Like, I would see myself as a wolf, and also, like, I always want wolf companions with me. So, that sounds pretty awesome. Temple of Time in this game, looking baller, by the way. Love it. So yeah, definitely get this game and play it for yourself. If you don't want to play it for yourself, or you lack the resources, or don't want to buy a Wii U at this point in the console cycle, then thanks so much for watching this entire Let's Play. I hope I made your day. Or, I don't know, maybe I infuriated you along the way, especially because I was sucking. For instance, against Ganondorf. Oops, I didn't mean to. I really tried. I really, really tried. And I guess Link put the Master Sword back, by the way, where no one will ever find it, even though our friends from our failed OkCupid date were just, like, there. Like, they would have found it. Or maybe it's sort of the stone kind of thing. Like, maybe only Link can wield it. Maybe he's the only one who can actually pull it out of that stone. So now we're returning to normal life in Orden. We're being called to wake up and go to the ranch, but I don't seem to be there. Where could I possibly be? And Ilya's watching after me too. Or something. I'm assuming it's me. Because I'm a very egotistical person. Link is the most selfish person ever. Like, look at all the shit that he just collects up and carries. So, maybe I'm riding away in the distance? I'm not sure if I'm coming back, or I'm leaving for good. Maybe it's up for interpretation. Leave your interpretation down below. In the comments. And with that, we have our final image. Somehow they repaired the statue so that the head is back on it. These are the goddesses, by the way. I can't tell you which one is who off the top of my head because I don't see any sort of discerning features. But Din, Faror, and Nehru, who the provinces are all named after. Also, we get this extra little bit of credits because this is the extra people on Twilight Princess HD who conspicuously seem to not be Japanese people at all, based on their names. So I wonder if they just didn't put the Japanese credits in this version of the game when they localized it, or what. But I'm assuming that certainly there were Japanese developers as a big force at play in developing Twilight Princess Wii U. Certainly wasn't just people overseas. Anyway. So get this game. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This is QueerForceX. I'm Brad. You can find me on social media at Baron as in Red on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, but try not to find me unless you're, actually friends with me. You can follow me, but I won't friend you unless I know you personally. That's just my policy. Also, way back in the credits, there was Michiru Oshima, who apparently did the music arrangements, or the sound arrangements, I think it said in the credits. I'm pretty sure that is the composer of the music for Legend of Legaia, one of my favorite PlayStation 1 RPGs ever, and also did the music for Ico and a few other things. Also contributed some music to Legaia Dual Saga, the sequel to Legend of Legaia. So I like that composer a lot. I think it's the same one. I think I'm getting the name right. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's who I'm thinking of. So, after this Let's Play, you should check out any of our other Let's Plays. Our Drunk Spyro Let's Play is about to be complete. The last few episodes of that will also be uploaded around this time. And then we have some special announcements coming up in video form, including a channel trailer and some intros from us here at QueerForceX, and get-to-knows and question and answer things, and some sketches and skits. And we have a lot of cool content coming up, so please check all of that out. And also don't forget to check out all of the videos of this game without commentary. So without further ado, the end. Thanks so much again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.